You saw it making an amazing scene at the press conferences. It's Rise of the Tomb Raider, and Brian Horton, the game director, is here to talk about it with me. Brian.
How's it going?
It's a pretty exciting E3.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about this. I think it's probably one of the best E3s we've seen in a decade.
It's wonderful, and Rise of the Tomb Raider is a big part of that. For me personally, at least, Tomb Raider was one of the rare games that I really felt a compulsion to 100% to just explore. I got so lost in that world, and I absolutely loved it.
That's great. We were really proud of everything we were able to do on the last game, but Rise of the Tomb Raider, we believe, is really stepping things up in a major way, and I'd love to talk to you guys about that.
All right, so what does stepping up mean? Because you guys kind of laid yourself a foundation for a new Lara Croft kind of experience, kind of vibe, but you know, stepping up often means sort of changing the flow of the entire game. I mean, for a sequel. Really,
for us, it's just, we want to make Lara Croft the most believable human character in video games, and she's central to that. But above and beyond that, this is her first great tomb raiding expedition. On the last game, she was about survival, and that's still part of our tone. But now she's going out there and seeking out these lost secrets in the darkest, farthest corners of the world, and it's been a great evolution in her character.
And it's sort of, you know, now she's survived her ordeal on the island. She's probably a little bit more, I don't know, prepared for things to go haywire, which is not to say that when things go haywire, she's not going to be a little overwhelmed.
Yeah, we definitely need to have that feeling of she goes into this environment with her climbing gear, 2 axes ready to go, but this avalanche hits her, and then she has to start from zero. But she has these survival skills built in from her experience, and she feels at home here. This is part of her destiny, and these challenges and being a Tomb Raider is really what she's meant to be.
So part of the survival in Tomb Raider was about that exploration, was about sort of finding things in the environment that would allow you to tweak your gear a little bit, that would allow you to sort of stay strong and grow your abilities. You know, in sort of this more targeted tomb exploration focus you guys have, is that still part of the game?
It's a huge part of the game. We've taken the idea of upgrades because we want her character to evolve, not only story-wise, but also through gameplay. So now the upgrades, where once it was maybe like a simple XP upgrade, we now have the deer that you kill has hide resource and antlers, and you can collect other things like wood in the world. You can create these crafting recipes out of 16 unique ingredients to upgrade your weapons and your ammunition. We have really cool new ammo, which is called the Poison Arrow. You can take out multiple guys with one shot. I mean, it's really nice to see us fleshing out these systems.
With one shot? How does that even work? One arrow, one person. That's my
this cloud
situation.
Of poison gas comes out.
Oh, it's a cloud.
A
nice.
cloud of poison
AOE.
gas. Yeah, AOE.
All right, I like it. All right, so we, you know, during this the sort of scene from the press conference, we do this exploration, and we get a look at the fact that Lara is accompanied. She's not on her own, and you know, she had other survivors she would sort of connect with in Tomb Raider, but this feels like this guy's along for the ride in a bigger way.
Jonah was actually in the last game.
Yeah.
So he's one of the characters we brought over, and he's a loyal companion to Lara. But as you see in this footage from the gameplay, they do get separated by the avalanche. So in the classic tomb raiding tradition, it's a solo sport.
It's a solo sport. Now let's talk about the classic tomb raiding condition, because Lara is now, you know, she's going to this one area. We sort of get a glimpse of the castle maybe on the distance that she's aiming towards. Is this, does the whole game revolve around this sort of one expedition, or are there multiple that she'll embark on, or will it take her to other locations?
Well, we have teased out one environment that's different than Siberia. I won't go into a lot of detail about that, but it will have different climates, even this one location. But ultimately, what we're trying to do here is create this great drama, this great expedition that is fueled with mystery and intrigue and history. And the tombs are back in Tomb Raider. That's really what I got to say. I mean, if you're a Tomb Raider fan and you wanted tombs in a more significant way, they're bigger, they're more complex, and the rewards that you get from them are seriously substantial and central to the plot of Tomb Raider.
And the tombs are not just about, you know, they're sort of a mix of all that Tomb Raider has to offer. It's a mix of exploring and scouting the land. It's a mix of figuring out environmental puzzles. And there's also combat.
Absolutely. The 3 pillars of our game all exist in a tomb. And the way we've expanded on it, instead of making one puzzle for one tomb, it's broken up in what we call nested puzzles, which is kind of like the multi-lock and key of a classic Tomb Raider. But we're using our physics-based puzzle system to have multiple puzzles that will help get you through to the final destination. So it's a really robust And I really think the Tomb Raider fan is going to be excited about what we have to offer.
I'm intrigued to see sort of where you guys land on the puzzle difficulty, right? Because it's always a challenge. You have to make the puzzle intriguing enough that the player doesn't just feel like, oh, I'll just like go around in this circle and find all the things to solve the puzzle. There has to be a little bit of, you got to figure this out involved. And there were a few moments like that in Tomb Raider. You guys are up in the ante this time around?
Yeah, well, we want to make sure, because we're going with a nested puzzle formula, it's not that the puzzle is so complex that you can't figure it out. It just has multi-stages, and it makes your brain work in different ways, but not so complex to the point where you're going to be stuck in there for an hour trying to figure out where to go. Mm-hmm. We want to make sure that the action fan that loved the last Tomb Raider is going to be satisfied, and then the classic Tomb Raider fan is going to get a little bit more robust expression of puzzle solving.
Now, before we wrap up here, I've got a question about sort of Lara herself, right? She's a more seasoned adventurer now. She's stared death in the face, and in a situation like this, actually died in like some pretty brutal ways. Yep. Which was one of the more really interesting design choices I thought you guys made with the last game, because it made me feel a little like I didn't like seeing them every time.
Well, that's the whole idea. Drama has to have consequence. You can't set up a situation like this avalanche and not, if you fail at it, there has to be a death, there has to be a consequence. Now, the brutality of those things, we introduced the Siberian grizzly. Now, you can imagine what happens if you mess up in that situation.
Don't tell my imagination to think about a Siberian grizzly ball like Lara. Now, Brian. But, I mean, Lara's sort of that physicality, that connection the player has with Lara, with that character, is so important to how the game feels, how the game plays. Did you guys sort of make any changes in terms of the design of Lara's animations and her character to reflect her sort of experiences?
Absolutely. Brandon Fernandez, our animation director, believes he wants to create characters we call the living Lara moments, contextual. Like when she's going through the deep snow, you'll see her exertion as she's climbing up the mountain. We actually carve out tracks in the snow, physical deformation of the snow. Mm-hmm. So Lara's connection to her environment is essential, and we do that through hundreds and hundreds of custom animations that are all playable. So that idea that Lara feels connected to her world is central to that experience.
Fantastic. And yeah, it certainly is looking beautiful. I mean, technical performance and like artistry is something you guys set a pretty high standard for in Tomb Raider, and it's something you're leaning into this time around as well.
Yeah, our team is second to none. The best artists, best tech, best animation in the industry, and these guys are passionate.
You know there are other artists in tech and animators out here,
well,
right?
I'm biased, maybe, a little bit. But seriously,
they can hear you, Brian.
The team at Crystal, a little bit of tidbit too. It's not just Crystal Dynamics. Our partners at Eidos Montreal are co-developing this game with us.
No kidding.
And we couldn't be more excited to have that additional talent and blood helping us make this what we believe is the best Tomb Raider game we've ever made.
The best Tomb Raider game you guys have ever made. Big words, big ambitions, but so far, Rise of the Tomb Raider looking really good. Let's talk a little bit about when it's coming out and sort of how you guys are releasing it, because that was something that after last year's E3, folks required a little bit of clarification on.
Sure. So we've had a fantastic partnership with Microsoft. They've been extremely supportive. You can look at our booth. We have a prestige place within their organization.
There's a little cave and everything.
They love it. They really have been very big supporters, and they believed in our vision from the start. So it's been a really great partnership for us. We are coming out this November 10th, this year, 2015, on Xbox One and Xbox 360, and we couldn't be more happy with the way things are going so far.
Well, Brian, thank you so much for coming on and talking. Rise of the Tomb Raider, looking great here at E3 2015.
Thanks a lot.
All right, folks. Coming up next, we've got more game demos here on the live stage. For Honor, it says they got a schedule over there. It's really handy. For Honor, see it at the Ubisoft press conference with the swords, the axes, and the... We're going to be talking about it, seeing it in action in just a moment.